There is no doubt that art is probably one of the best investments. When I first started out 20 years ago, I could not say that because I don't have an experience of anything having investment and, having had an investment value.
Alitash Kebede got that start by displaying and selling art in New York in the 1980s, where she immersed herself in the culture and community of the artists.
Because of my love and interest in art and artists, they, all of them used to say, you should represent my work or something like that, And of course, I thought it was too good to be true, to be making a living, working with art. But here it is, 20 years later, I'm doing it.
It was an affinity that started when Alitash was just a child in her native Ethiopia. There, her father developed a tradition of exposing her to paintings from a non-traditional source.
In Ethiopia, there's a tradition of church paintings, that in other words, the deacons from the church are painters. They produce paintings that is usually bought by lay people and donated back to the church as a gift, And usually people don't hang those pieces in their homes, but we had plenty of those in our home.
After moving to the United States and graduating college, Kebede noticed a particular void in the world of art. African-American artists were not marketing themselves to African-American buyers.
I said to myself, my God, I must make a difference in this. If people knew, they would be interested in these works of artists that were, they were represented in museums, they were in, major collections and whatnot, but they didn't really have, people did not know about them. And particularly in the West Coast. In New York, there is a community that, knows about, the artists and whatnot, may not be, very wide one, the art community is very small anyway. But in the West Coast, there was none.
Alitash moved to Los Angeles, where artists allowed her to sell their works on consignment, but she noticed that customers weren't exactly beating down her door.
At that time, I had collages by Romare Bearden for $3,000. Those were works that would sell today for $100,000. But still, $3,000 was a lot of money. I remember one time someone coming to me and seeing a work of Romare Bearden, and it was $750. It was a print. And she asked me how much it was, and I said $750, and she thought I was talking about $7.50. That's what I was dealing with at the time.
After selling from her home for a time, she realized that to educate the consumer, the pieces she was presenting needed a larger venue.
Galleries are when you think of them in the right way, they're like small museums. As you could see right now, the exhibition that we have is something on a big scale could be at a museum. And so I wanted the reason why I decided to take up a gallery space is because the artist could get a wider visibility, as opposed to being a private dealer and it's only with the people that I know. This way it's open to the public.
While most of her revenue is from sales of pieces, many would be surprised to know there are other ways for art galleries to make money.
We generate income from these traveling exhibitions when the museums who rent them, pay us a rental fee. So some of that income goes into supporting the gallery as well.
For most businesses, competition derives from within the same industry. Kebede says for her, this is not true.
But people would rather buy things that has sort of how would you say it, the cars and even when you're talking about places like Los Angeles, you have competitions with the Pradas and the Louis Vuittons and whatnot, and people can spend money on astronomical amount of money on handbags and whatnot, but when you're talking about, and I'm talking about people that I know, friends.
And while the Alitash Kebede Art Gallery continues to do well financially, she says there are even more valuable reasons why she's passionate about art.
It's important to surround yourself with, art that you can enjoy with your family, and not only that, that you can pass along to your children and generations of your children. And the kind of artwork that we sell are those kind of artwork, and that makes me feel good.